Hello and welcome back on this fifth day of the new year 2024. I hope you're all doing well and happy new year to all of you. I hope you all had a fantastic holiday season and rung in the new year with lots of cheer. So I'm here with a couple of updates, so let's get straight into this one. But first of all, if you're here for the first time, thank you for choosing to tune in. So all right, let's get into the first update. It is dealing with quite a few sensitive topics here, so I will find ways to edit as I'm giving you this update. So the article here says, two dedicated and unapologetic white supremacists who targeted the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's son in a neo-Nazi podcast have now been jailed for terrorism offenses. At Kingston Crown Court on Thursday, the 4th of January, Christopher Gibbons was sentenced to 11 years imprisonment and Tyrone Patton Walsh to 10 years. Both will be subject also to a 15-year-long notification order and serve 3 years on license when they are released to reduce their ability to cause further harm. Gibbons described Harry and Meghan's son Archie as a, quote, creature that should be put down, end quote, and called for the Duke to be, quote, prosecuted and judicially killed for treason, end quote. He made the comments on an extremely right-wing radio-style chat show he hosted with Patton Walsh, who also had profoundly offensive extreme views, the court heard. Using the aliases Christopher White and Joseph Walsh, the pair had quite a few rants. Some of them were racist, anti-Semitic, misogynistic, and the two podcasters called Lone Wolf Radio and later Black Wolf Radio had by June 2020, when police intercepted it, 128 subscribers and about 9,000 views. On the show, the pair promoted the view that the, quote, white race was likely to be genocided unless steps were taken to fight back, in quotes, and approved of the day of the rope, in quotes. Okay, so I won't cover that in detail. That's just a bunch of nonsense. So I'm taking it back to Prince Harry and Meghan. They had called for the deaths of the Duke of Sussex, and in the sentencing, the judge in London called the duo, quote, dedicated and unapologetic white supremacists, in quotes, who encouraged terrorism. So as I mentioned before, they approved of the day when so-called race traitors would be hanged, particularly those in interracial relationships. Of course, as we know, Prince Harry's wife Meghan is biracial. She has a black mother and a white father. And of course, they were citing Prince Harry, who was now married to the Duchess. So Gibbons was sentenced to 8 years in prison, the Metropolitan Police said, and Patton Walsh was given a 7-year term, and both will be on the equivalent of probation for 3 years after their release. So this was what the judge Peter Lauder said in his judgment, quote, the evidence demonstrates that you desire to live in a world dominated by white people purely for white people, end quote. And the article says here, while Patton Walsh and Gibbons were entitled to hold their beliefs regardless of being preposterous and as they are offensive to civilized society, in quotes, Lauder said they had gone too far. And also, a Kingston Crown Court jury convicted them in July of 8 counts of encouraging terrorism. Gibbons was also convicted of 2 counts of disseminating terrorist documents through his online neo-Nazi radicalization library that had more than 2,000 subscribers, authorities said. CMDR Dominic Murphy, who heads the Met's counter-terrorism unit, said the material they disseminated, quote, is exactly the kind that has the potential to draw vulnerable people, particularly young people, into terrorism, end quote. So that's a quick update there. As you can see, justice has prevailed. So yes, quite offensive rhetoric, and it is good to see that justice has prevailed. What a cruel thing to say of Archie And, it was vile for them to suggest that Prince Harry was a, quote, race traitor or anything like that. And of course, it does once again truly shed a spotlight on the fact that Meghan was facing quite unique challenges as she joined the royal family. It wasn't just the offhanded mean comment here or there or a spiteful comment. The things she was going through were racist, and you can imagine these are just some of the things that managed to garner worldwide attention. What about just the things that perhaps she may have gone through that, she can only talk about from her own personal experience? And remember what Neil Basu said. He himself talked about the, quote, disgusting and very real, end quote, threat that Meghan faced as a working royal. And that was his statement. He was the outgoing Metropolitan Police Assistant Commissioner. And he said that people had been prosecuted over the threats that had been directed at Meghan. Yes, once again, rubber stamping the fact that Harry and Meghan had spoken about the abuse that they had faced and how it had impacted their mental health. And it was quite a heightened situation that the couple were in. And one more quote I would like to remind you of from Neil Basu. He said, quote, "If you had seen the stuff that was written and you were receiving it, the kind of rhetoric that's online, if you don't know what I know, you would feel under threat all of the time," end quote. So there had been threats against Meghan. They had authorities investigating them. And as he said, people were prosecuted for those crimes. It is no wonder that Harry wants round-the-clock protection for him and for Meghan and the children when they are in the UK. Can you imagine those men in that podcast talking about Archie like that? And you can still sometimes hear a back and forth in the UK, people trying to question why Harry and Meghan would even need protection. These individuals who had this neo-Nazi podcast, as I read to you, were able to reach thousands, right? And sometimes it only takes one person to act on the things that they are hearing, especially when they're hearing words like white people being, quote, genocided, which of course, that's just rubbish. Harry loves Meghan. There was no agenda there. He chose her and he loves her, and I'm so happy that they're safe. Once again, I would like to bring us back to the issue of protection and security for this couple, as Harry has been pursuing that through the courts. Do you think that Harry and Meghan should have round-the-clock guaranteed police protection when they are in the UK? I definitely think they should have it, though as we've known, there have been issues as well with the report that came out in August of 2023, where Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan featured in several images alongside racist texts alleged to have been sent by former Metropolitan Police. So that once again is quite a tricky situation, very complex, but still it does show that Harry and Meghan do need protection. So share your thoughts about that in the comment section. I would like to know your thoughts on that topic. So wow, what a news cycle we've been having. The news has been full. And here's still another sensitive topic. I'm going to try to find a way to cover this in a way that doesn't go into too much detail. As you know, the royal family right now is back in the spotlight with certain members there who claimed that they did not sweat at a point, being back in the spotlight with the revelations that have been coming out, with the files that have been released. Prince Harry did highlight the strategy of offering up other members there in the family to deflect or distract. So I want us all to be on the lookout and not to fall for these distractions that might come deployed to distract. I think a couple of you saw a story that came out a while ago where people were trying to suggest that Meghan had been dropped by WME. That was just a pure distraction, and I'm so glad that so many of you were on it. That did not gain a lot of traction. It was just such a cheap move, and I love how Harry and Meghan have been able to control any news about them and imagery so that they are not used to deflect attention away from other unfavorable topics out there. So let's just keep on the lookout, not amplify such stories. Any negative stories or headlines on the Sussexes, let's not amplify those. Let's continue to root for justice, because this seems to be a time when a lot of truths are coming out. So I just wanted to add that on here, so let's keep a lookout. It is also quite odd that, as last year a lot of you saw, Harry and Meghan had a lot of people from several quarters calling out for them to lose their titles, their Sussex titles. But isn't it quite interesting on this flip end, the amount of crickets, just the tumbleweed, no calls for dukedoms to be revoked or anything like that. Quite interesting. So once again, share your thoughts on all of this in the comment section below. I would love to know your thoughts. And as always, before we log off, allow me here to thank those of you who support this channel financially. To all of my Patreon, PayPal, and membership supporters, allow me here to thank a couple of you and shout you out by name. A very special thank you to you. Diane Hawkins, you are the first supporter of this channel financially. It means so much to me. Thank you for being such a tremendous support throughout the years. You have been such a blessing and so encouraging. May God bless you. I love you. And thank you as well to Gary Adderley. You have been such a boost to me for so many years, and I just don't take that for granted at all. I pray for God to bless you. God bless you and yours. I truly appreciate you. And thank you to Scotty and Norma Brown. Thank you for the love you've shown me and my work here. You mean so much to me. You're valued. And I really want to say thank you. Thank you for your tremendous support. I love you all. And once again, thank you to all of you who support this channel through your giving. May God bless you. And if you liked this one, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Click that subscribe button. It truly does help out the channel. Thank you to those who do. I truly appreciate that. Share your comments on all of this below. And if you want to watch more videos, click the links in the cards and at the end screens, and I will see you there. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a blessed one.